folks. I'm glad you're here. In this video today, we are going to start putting in our top light in our plot, and there's a couple other fixtures we're going to install in the plot that is going to live over the stage. This is probably going to be a two-part step, just because there's quite a bit of little minutia that we want to have to deal with. So let's get started. Get this going away here. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put our top light in. In top light, backlight is used to sort of separate the performer from the scenery so they don't sort of blend in. It's really quite fascinating how when there's no backlight, top light, and versus with top light, it really, again, it really sort of visually pulls the performer out of the scenery. So we're gonna hang some lights here, and we're gonna do the same thing like we did for our source fours. We're gonna try a couple different fixtures and see what we have to do. So these fixtures, we don't need to do the 45. We're just gonna do, if we can, as much as we can straight on top of or straight behind the focus points. So we're going to start with area A here, and we're going to come up and we're going to try and install a fixture, and I'm going to look for let's try and find, I believe they're here, yes, I'm going to try a narrow spot, an NSP. We have narrow spot, we have very narrow spot, we have medium flood, wide flood, an extra wide flood. So I'm going to start with narrow spot just to kind of show everybody the difference. So we're going to start with that, and I'm going to pop it in here right about here, and I'm going to point it around till it gets to our space here. And so we have our label legends come in. Okay, so what I'm going to do is we're going to pop in the focus point. Okay, and that's going to be A. And just for fun, let's draw the beam and see what it does. Okay, just as I suspected, it's a narrow spot. It's a small beam of light. Again, we want all of our beams of light to overlap so there's no dark spots. Okay, oops. So this is probably just a little too narrow. I'm going to go and we're going to do an extra wide flood. We're going to go the other direction. So I'm going to come over here and we are going to replace lighting device, and we're going to do extra wide flood. Let's try this. Okay, and there is the extra wide flood. Probably a little too big. So what I think we're going to end up on, what we're going to land on, is our wide flood. So we're going to try it one more time, and wide flood. Okay, and that looks pretty close. So you notice this has more of an an elliptical beam of light, an oval beam of light. Parkans, historically, this is the shape of the beam of light, and with the fixture you can rotate the lens to get that oval to point in different directions. In our case, we want the oval to point so everything blends in nice. So like I said, this is probably going to be a good fixture. I'm going to color these with a color GAM 850. That is my go-to top light. So I'm going to type in G 850. Everybody has their go-tos, and mine happens to be GAM 850. So now what we're going to do is I'm just going to copy and slide these lights down the electric. I'm going to drag it down, and I'm going to have to change this over to focus point B. There we go. We're doing okay. We're going to get to focus point C. There we go. We're getting to focus point D. Okay. And we're still okay. But now we're getting into focus point E, and there's some lights going to be in the way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy and get it off stage just a little bit. Okay, sorry about that. Let's see, just drag it over here. This is not where it's going to live. I'm just sort of getting it copied. We're going to put it in focus point E. Okay. Now what we're going to have to do is, again, doing lighting and creating a light plot is all about compromise. Very rarely, I don't think I've ever made a light plot where it's like, gosh, Pat, you made this light plot and all the lights are in the place that exactly in the place that they need to be. Said no lighting designer ever. Almost always you kind of have to move the lights around to get everything to fit. So I'm just going to kind of scooch things over just a little bit, and then we're going to stick our light in here, and I think that should give us enough room to do some focusing. And we're going to, because again I'm anal retentive and the A had to be, I'm going to make these so they're pointing straight down stage. So let's see, we are at 168.90, so I'm not sure if this is going to be 180 degrees. Yeah, there we go. I'm going to make these all 180 degrees. Why? Because I want to. So we're going to change these. Okay. So there we go. We have our first electric worth of lights in. Okay. So I'm going to select these, and again, and I'm going to turn off the beams just so it doesn't quite get so messy. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag these lights up, and I'm going to snap them onto the second electric and start with that. So I'm just going to grab them, and on the Mac it's Shift Option to pull up, and I'm going to get them so they attach to the second electric. Let's make sure that they are indeed there. Yes, they did attach. So now I can use some of these lights. They're not in the right place. So on this electric, we're going to have the backlight for F, G, H, and I, and then we're going to have sort of a top light, very barely front top light for J, K, and L. Okay, so we're going to move some lights around. So we're going to use these two lights right here for J and F. So I'm going to just kind of nudge them over a little bit so they're just on either side of the focus points. Oh, going the wrong direction. And let's try that again. Slide it over. There we go. So let's see. I'm going to make this one focus point J. And I'm going to make this one focus point F. And then we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to slide this one over just a little bit. And this is going to be K. And then I'm going to drag and copy the other fixture, and that is going to be G. And then we have H, L, and I. So what I'm going to do is we're going to need to squeeze 3 lights in here. So I'm going to scooch this guy over just a little bit. So we're going to make this one H. We're going to make this one L. And we're going to make this one I. So once you get going, you can reuse fixtures. So that is a that that's a good thing. Um, so let's see. Let's turn these on and see what happens here. See what they look like. 'Cause I think we're gonna have to make a few adjustments, mostly on eye. So let's just select these. Let's select these first ones here, and we are going to turn on the beams. Hallelujah. Okay, so it looks like we have J, K, and L. They are lit fairly well. These you see the light. It looks like it's gonna, as you can probably imagine, it's probably gonna go all over the back wall. It's gonna light the back wall, and it's something we usually don't want. We want to keep that particular light off the wall, or I do. On the side here, there it looks like there's some, and it looks like there is some on area I right here. What we do, and we're going to do this in a separate video, but their lighting fixtures have accessories, and one of the accessories that we're going to use something called a barn door. And a barn door is something that you can use to shape the beam of light of a Fresnel or of a Source 4 par. Ellipsoidals have the shutters. These lights don't have anything like this, so that's where barn doors come in, and we're going to put those on in another video. So right now I am happy with these, so I'm going to turn the beams off, and the last thing we're going to do is we're going to drag back. Let's see, these two lights right here. I'm going to copy, and we're going to put them back here. And I'm just going to kind of move them over just a little bit. Okay. So they're right over. And these are going to kind of be like the hallway lights. And so we're going to get that in place. It kind of got away from me a little bit. So I'm going to change this, and this is going to be focused into M. And this is going to be focused into N. And let's see what we have here. So let's turn on some old beams. And so the smaller one is, remember, that's on a platform, and that's going to be just about right. We'll probably put barn doors in this one. This one right here, what we're going to probably do, that's a little big probably, even with barn doors. So what we're going to do is we're going to change this one to a medium flood, just for grins, and let's see what happens. Replace lighting device, medium flood, there we are. And that'll work a little better for that purpose. So in this video, we looked at putting in and trying to decide what fixtures we are going to use for top backlights on our plot. We're going to have another very short part to this step, and we're going to put some lights in that will focus solely on these doors. So that will be a quick video. So we will see you back soon.